Ozma of Oz Part 3. Where we last left off, Dorothy is now free and is reuniting with all of her long-lost friends. So she is reunited with the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodman, the Cowardly Lion, and meets the Cowardly Lion's new friend, the Hungry Tiger. The Hungry Tiger is hungry always because he has decided that he's not going to kill things for food anymore. But the amount of hunger that he has is so immense that he is just never satisfied. He's essentially decided that he would rather eat nothing than eat a little bit but still have it not satisfy him, essentially have whatever living thing's death be in vain because he's still hungry anyway. So for example, at one point, Billina lays an egg and doesn't actually incubate any of these eggs. She just lays it as a habit every morning. And the egg is offered to the Hungry Tiger, and he basically is like, no, it won't really do any good to satiate the overall hunger that I have, so it's better if I just don't eat it at all. And it essentially just goes to waste. It's an interesting all or nothing mindset, even though he's showing restraint, because there are so many other things in this book that seem to clearly represent corporations, people like Vanderbilt or Rockefeller, Carnegie, sort of absorbing all of these other corporations and creating monopolies and never really being satisfied. I feel like that's what the Hungry Tiger probably represents, is these companies that squeeze all of the small businesses out and will just never be satisfied with any amount of money or power. The Hungry Tiger is also very callous about like, oh, see, I want to eat you so badly, but I'm not going to because I'm such a good tiger. He says stuff like that to Dorothy, Billina, Princess Langwidere's maid. Anyway, the last stop before they all go to save the royal family is they go get Billina out of the chicken coop, and she has been fighting. There's a rooster that has been trying to express his dominance, and Billina was like, and she beat him up. So good for her, I guess. So our whole party makes their way to the King of Gnomes to hopefully free the royal family of Ev. So the King of the land of Ev sold his 10 children and wife into slavery with the King of Gnomes, the Gnome King, N-O-M-E, in exchange for a long life. But then he threw that long life away by throwing himself into the sea and drowning. So Dorothy and Ozma reason that they should be able to get the royal family freed if they go and talk to the Gnome King, because the King of the land of Ev did not, in fact, have a long life because he drowned. But I don't think that logic is going to hold up. Now, the Gnome King is the ruler of the underground world and commands the rocks and all that the rocks contain. Under his rule are many thousands of the gnomes, who are queerly shaped but powerful sprites that labor at the furnaces and forges of their king, making gold and silver and other metals which they conceal in the crevices of the rocks, so that those living upon the earth's surface can only find them with great difficulty. Also, they make diamonds and rubies and emeralds which they hide in the ground, so that the kingdom of the gnomes is wonderfully rich. And we have all we have of precious stones and silver and gold is what we take from the earth and rocks, where the Gnome King has hidden them. So this seems to represent a sort of trickle-down economics, with the Gnome King being the super-duper elite, like, richest person you can think of. And essentially what this is saying is that all the wealth that we have is just whatever the Gnome King deigns to give us, right? He has all of his subjects working to create more wealth for him, and that is just supposed to trickle down to everyone else. But like it says in here, it takes great amounts of energy, time. It's very, very difficult for everyone on the earth, assuming in the Americas, but anywhere, to get even a small piece of that wealth. Before they get to the Gnome King, they encounter this giant with a hammer who essentially just pounds this mallet down sort of rhythmically as a way to deter people from going into the palace. Contrary to what that picture looks like, it is impassable. You have to go under it. And so they were able to pass under it kind of one at a time, sort of like a jump rope, and just go through the gap. I don't know for sure, but this felt like a possible allusion to Scylla in the Odyssey, that six-headed monster that would eat 6 men off of your ship if you pass by it. They finally get to the outside of the Gnome King's palace, but they can't find the door without his help. And no matter what anyone says, he refuses to let them in until Dorothy decides to humble herself and essentially beg. She says, "I'm only a little girl from Kansas, and we've got more dignity at home than we know what to do with. I'll call the Gnome King." And then the Hungry Tiger is like, "Please do, because then I might get a chance to eat you." So that works, and they get in to see the Gnome King, who seems to be described a lot like Santa Claus. Dorothy says as much, and he laughs and quotes "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." The Gnome King says he had a red face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. What are the implications of him knowing about Santa Claus? As suspected, Dorothy and Ozma's logic does not hold up. He says, "No way, I offered the King of Ev a long life. It's not my fault that he threw it away by jumping into the sea. Not my problem." And now this is even more evidence that he's supposed to represent a major company, a monopoly, right? Because he acquired, legally, but not ethically, this other kingdom, right? He acquired this other kingdom. He put all of them to work, okay, improving his own kingdom. They sort of ceased to exist. And I feel like that feels very similar to a company acquiring another pretty big company, eliminating all of the competitors, and becoming the one ruler of that industry. By the way, this is him literally sitting on his pile of money. Ozma says, "Fine, if you won't let them go, then I'm going to invade you and take them back from you by force." The Gnome King literally laughs at her and is like, "You have no idea what you're dealing with. I am way more powerful than you." And he shows a small part of his army, which is way, way, way bigger than whatever Ozma brought. This again shows that corporations get so big that they literally have enough money and power that they don't even fear the federal government. I mean, Ozma showed up with this weird misfit band of people and about 27 soldiers and thought that she could take on this. The Cowardly Lion tries to physically attack the Gnome King, but it's as if there is an invisible shield or force field blocking him from attacking the Gnome King, which again feels like a corporation. Now here's the deal that they ultimately settle on. So there are 11 total members of the royal family, the 10 kids and the queen, and they were all enslaved, legally bought by the Gnome King. And they have been turned into various decorations around the house. So they don't resemble people anymore. So the Gnome King says, you, Ozma, can go through my whole palace and you can touch up to 11 objects and say Ev. And if that makes them turn back into a member of the royal family, then they're free to go. If you touch 11 objects and you don't find any of them, then you get turned into an object and you have to stay. And he said, everybody who came with you can do the same. Yeah, have at it. And that's it. That's where we're going to leave off for today.